Nigeria operates the common law legal system. Again, it speaks volumes about the ability of Nigeria to take advantage of globalization and international commerce. Nigeria has in the last few years, under the Obasanjo regime, which we must give credit to, has reduced our debt from 30 billion down to, I think it's 2 billion. From 40% of GDP to less than 5%. It's a great achievement. We have been removed from the shackles of debt. Nigeria, again, has had a regime of fiscal discipline. We're getting there. Greater transparency, accountability, due process has led the government to be able to acquire almost $42 billion of foreign reserves. It's money that may have gone out one way or the other in the past. Most of this we need to channel into infrastructure. And by the grace of God, that will be done with this new regime. Nigeria has sent more troops for peacekeeping operations to more countries in the world than any other African nation. We've had well over 26 military and police peace missions and 8 observer missions. Nigeria has made massive material and financial contributions towards the liberation of Angola, Mozambique, Namibia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. We spent over $40 billion on this between 61 and 94. I know some of you will say this money should have been spent within the country. But Nigeria has always, despite abuse from our sister African countries, consistently pursued a policy in Africa which symbolizes the essence of African brotherhood, centered on the readiness of each to be his brother's keeper. We have always promoted good neighborliness. We have never had a history of expansionism. In the fight against apartheid, Nigerians risked the very lifeblood of her economy, oil, when she nationalized the assets of British Petroleum in the country as a way of conveying the seriousness of her position on the issue of apartheid. Shortly after that action, the British government concluded the Lancaster House Agreement that paved the way to Zimbabwe's independence. Nigeria initiated the founding of the ECOMOG, the military arm of the Economic Community of West African States, and became its leading contributor. ECOMOG intervened militarily to arrest the political and humanitarian crisis that engulfed Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, and Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria has consistently contributed to the alleviation of humanitarian crises in Africa, including such places as Southern and Central Africa and Darfur. I remember I served as the Deputy Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and on almost a weekly basis, we were having leaders, heads of state, heads of government of all these countries that had problems coming into Nigeria with President Obasanjo trying to sort out their problems every week. That shows a country that has tremendous respect for our neighboring African brothers. Nigeria, again, is among the top nations in diaspora. We have about 20 million Nigerians all over the world. Their enterprises support and sustain many countries in the region. We should be proud. A great country made up of great people. I must encourage all our hardworking compatriots to continue to highlight the positive aspects of your country. And each and every one of you, all of you, you are all Nigerians. You deserve the credit. You should be proud of yourselves. Nigerians should stop being apologetic about Nigeria. You have to start walking tall with pride. After all, there are far many more positive things to say about Nigeria compared to the negative presentations you see in the media. I would want to say at this stage just a few things about the changing face of Ireland, migration and multiculturalism, especially in relation to our Nigerian brothers and sisters. The massive economic growth that has taken place in Ireland has led to an influx of immigrants from Eastern Central Europe, also from Africa, more so from Nigeria. There are now almost 250,000 foreign nationals in the Irish workforce, which has ensured the continuity of the Irish economic miracle. If the foreign immigrants had not come in, the growth story here might have been different. It would have put a brake on that economic development, the economic boom. So each and every one of you here are an asset to the Irish economy. You are an asset. You are playing a role. You are paying your taxes. You are valuable. You are valuable. So as we see, with the ever-swelling Irish economy, which has provided jobs for our people, immigrants as well, especially the skilled immigrants who can add value. But the problem now is that once the economy slows down, those jobs, which some of the Irish may not do, they may be the first to go. So I need to encourage my brothers and sisters. If you have a degree, go for a second degree. If you have a skill, look for increase your skills, your skill acquisition. Encourage your children to acquire skills, tertiary levels. Also, I enjoin you to show interest in your communities. Champion issues that affect your communities. Integrate, get your children to play the hurling, the Irish games, to be a part of this community. These exchanges and input of migrant communities, I believe, has made Ireland a better place. There is a richness that comes with diversity. There is an added vibrancy that comes from multiculturalism. The social space has become deeper and wider with the introduction of new languages, cultures, religions, and experiences. And in general, the price to be paid in racist tension has been fairly minimal. In this regard, I want to take this opportunity to commend the Irish government for its recent appointment of the Minister of State for Integration, as this hopefully points to a shift in focus from admission to incorporation. If you look at the recent 30th Parliamentary Convention, when they convened the Parliament, you have 166 TDs, but not one member in the TD, in the Parliament, is a member of the immigrant community, despite the fact that the immigrant community constitutes 10% of this population. We need to get active. Our people need to get involved, even in political activity, to ensure that your interests are represented at the highest levels of government. And I need to commend Mayor Rotimi Adebari of Portlaoise and Dr. Taiwo Martin of Venice, two young Nigerians who contested. Adebari, when he came in here, made sacrifices, went out to the community, reached out, and they saw it fit to vote him in as a councillor and honored him again this year as a mayor. It's a fantastic thing. He has changed a lot of perceptions about Nigeria, his hard work, his enterprise, and we look to all of each and every one of you to also be encouraged to get involved in the community as well. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, that we remember where we come from and that we stay in touch with our roots. Integrate too, but remember where you come from. This is becoming more critical, especially in this day and age when so many Nigerians now living in the diaspora. There is a need for Nigerians to ensure that their children remain acquainted with their rich African traditions. In this regard, I want to use this opportunity to commend and appreciate the tremendous efforts of the president of the Igbo community in Ireland, Mr. Steve Orji, for his role and foresightedness in celebrating the New Yam Festival in Ireland on an annual basis for the last 3 years. It has spread to all the regions. It's bringing out our culture. The Irish, ladies and gentlemen, come there and they get involved and they see where we're coming from, that we have a rich culture as well. You know, I remember seeing the priest in one of the New Yam Festival, and he came up to me, he said, look, he loves these people, that they remind him, the culture reminds him of the Irish culture. I don't know what aspect he saw, but he saw something that reminded him. and it engenders us to them. Is Mr. Steve Oji here? Please, maybe you can start for recognition. My brother, thank you.